Hello friends. Welcome to One Stop Current Affairs. Today we are going to talk about the dastardly attack which took place in Sukma district of Chattisgarh on the security personals uh, by the Naxals. So we're going to talk about this story uh, and we're also going to touch upon what is Naxalism and why it started, where it originated, and how far its wings have been spread, and what are the things which the government of India has done to curb it. So we're going to talk about everything in each thing in detail here. So let's start with our first presentation. So we'll start with the Naxal attack which took place. 22 security personnel martyred in this attack. They are not only from the CRPF, they are also uh, uh, from many other paramilitary organizations. So they were from Bastaria. There were some Cobra commandos also, which were part of this party, which was doing a recce and which was doing a search operation in the area. Uh, and 31 personnel have been injured in this attack. So this is something which is very, very disturbing, that not only 22 have been killed, but 31 have been injured in the attack, and one paramilitary commando is still missing. So these are the details which we have got so far, and like the intensity of the attack can only be figured out with this thing, that nearly 400 Maoists ambushed the security personnel. So you can imagine that how the Maoists attacked the entire paramilitary, the entire security party which was there in the area. And let's go about the details. So this attack basically took here in the Sukma district. This is the Sukma district. It took somewhere here near the border with Bijapur. So this is very important for everyone to understand. This is basically part of the Red Corridor, the Naxal belt, which all of us, as we know. Now, what happened in Sukma basically? What exactly happened? How the things unfolded on 3rd of April, that is 48 hours from today. How the things unfolded, and we're going to just look at the details here. On April 2, security personnel received input about Maoist team headed by Madhvi Hidma. So he's a Maoist insurgent. He has been operating for a very long time. He is nearly 40-year-old Maoist insurgent, uh, 40-year-old Maoist who has been operational in these areas. Uh, we'll talk about him also in detail. Nearly the combing operation was launched by the paramilitary, central paramilitary personnel started combing operation on receiving the intelligence input. So basically, what happened exactly? There was a construction of a road which was taking place, and as a lot of people know that in the past the Maoists have uh, destroyed and demolished the road construction activities or any infrastructure activities which has taken place in the past in these areas. So the security forces received an input that there was another attack, and another attack is being planned by the Maoists, and they received the input and they started moving. They started searching the entire area, and some 1,700 paramilitary personnel were deployed for this job. MHA claims the Maoists were trying to disrupt the construction of a road near Silgar and Jagargunda. So this is the path where the entire incident actually took place. This is the road for which Maoists were presumably coming for. On April 3, this search party was looking around in Tiram forest when the gunfight broke and nearly 400 Maoists attacked them. They ambushed them from two sides, and they trapped them in a corner, and it became impossible, almost impossible for the security personnel to break through from this trap. So, so Maoists surrounded security personnel from two sides. The gunfight lasted nearly 3 hours. Officials haven't denied possibility of Maoists laying a trap. So basically, as I've told you about uh, Madhvi Hidma, the mastermind behind, as officials have stated that he is the mastermind behind this attack. He was the person who basically officials are not denying that he might have laid this trap because he is known for such lethal ambush attacks in the past also. Uh, Madhvi Hidma is believed to be mastermind of the attack. Now, who is Madhvi Gidma? We have this very old photograph of his. Uh, even the intelligence agencies do not have any latest photographs. So this is the old photograph which we have, which is circulating on newspapers and everywhere. So he heads the Maoist group People's Liberation Guerrilla Battalion Number One, known for lethal ambushes, leads pack of 180 to 250 Maoist fighters, and has 40 lakh rupee reward over his head, considered to be mastermind behind killing of 32 Congress leaders in Jiram Valley ambush in 2013. Not only this, he was also considered to be responsible for the 2017 attack on the CRPF personnel in which 25 Jawans were also killed. So uh, he is a very dangerous man, and he has been very active in this entire region. So, what is Naxalism? Where did this word come from? And what are the connotations and what are the reasons behind this uprising in the central part of India? So the origin basically started from here. The Jalpaiguri, this district, there is somewhere here we have this Naxal village. So in 1967, what happens? Uh, there is a farmer who wins a case against a landlord, but over distribution of the, 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 the the distribution of the produce. But the landlord and his men beat the farmer, and in retaliation, a rebellion takes place, and the local landlord and his men were in retaliation. They were beaten, they were brutalized by these peasants. So, objective of the rebellion was the rightful redistribution of the land to working peasants. So, the main objective was to uh, give redistribution, means redistribute the lands to the peasants who are actually working on these lands, not the landlords who are just sitting idly and doing nothing and just giving orders. And so you all must be familiar about the zamindari system, how it was abolished in 1952, 1952 post independence. But there were large chunks of land which were still owned by many local landlords, and they used to rule uh, these areas, and they used to like exploit these peasants, and it became almost impossible for these peasants to have a livelihood. Naxal rebellion was under the leadership of Charu Majumdar, Kanu Santhal, and Jagan Sanyal. So these were the leaders of this Naxal movement: Charu Majumdar, Kanu Santhal, and Jagan Sanyal. Now, you can see in the background we have this photograph of Mao Zedong, the first the Chinese premier, the first president of the China. He was a lot of inspiration behind this Naxal movement. How, we'll tell you later. Now, Naxalism is basically considered to be far left radical communists. It is a movement started by these far left radical communists. Charu Majumdar was inspired by doctrine of Mao Zedong. So, what was the doctrine which he was inspired by? Say, they believe Charu Majumdar held government and upper class responsible for the plight of peasants and lower class tribals. So Majumdar believed that these peasants and lower class tribals should take up arms against the government and upper class people, and they should remove them. After death of Chadu Mazumdar, Naxal movement was fragmented into many competing factions. It was, as you can see, there are a lot of political organizations with different names. There is a CPIM, Communist Party of India Marxist. There is a CPIM L Marxist Leninist. There is a CPI. So there are several organizations, many left organizations in the country right now. So after Charu Majumdar's death in 1972, this movement was actually fragmented into a lot of pieces. So now let's see the states which are worst and partially hit by Naxalism, because over the course of years, the situation in this past decade has improved a lot. There were many reports that in this entire corridor, as you can see here, from here till here, this entire corridor was affected in the past decade, from 2000 and 2009. A lot of people used to say that a lot of reports were there that there were nearly 20,000 armed rebellions because of different reasons. Of course, as you can see, these Bihar, Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, these are mineral rich states. So what used to happen basically, government in these from early 2000 and 2010, in this period, government gave a lot of tender to private organizations, and a lot of people were very unhappy with this part, because a lot of tribals, their lands were snatched. They were not given, they were not asked before these things, and you can understand they were culturally, socially associated with these lands, and they were not feeling like giving up these lands to the big corporates. But it was a government of India decision, and ultimately these tribals, all these people were removed from their part of the land, which resulted in an armed rebellion. There is a report which states that nearly 20,000 armed Naxals, were there from 2000 to 2010. This was the very dangerous period when this rebellion was at its peak. You remember that Dantewada incident which took place in 2010, in which nearly 75 CRPF personnel were ambushed and attacked, as CRPF personnel were ambushed and killed uh, in Dantewada. So that was, I think, one of the most brutal uh, uh, the incidents in Maoist insurgency. Now let's come to the worst hit states. Worst hit states are Andhra Pradesh, Bihar, Jharkhand, and Chhattisgarh. So these are the states, these are the bordering states which are Andhra Pradesh, Bihar, Jharkhand, and Chhattisgarh. These are the four states which are the worst hit states. And if you can see, there is a pattern. Like, maximum number of Maoist attack actually take place in Chhattisgarh, largely in Sukma or in Dantewada or in Bijapur. These are the district. These are the bordering areas. So what happens largely, because these are large forest lands, what these Maoists do, that they move sporadically from one state to another state, and these are the bordering areas. So what they do after ambushing or leading an attack over a paramilitary force, they move to another state, and they go into hiding for a very long time, and they again wait for an opportune time to again hit back. Now, the partially hit states are UP, Madhya Pradesh, Odisha, West Bengal. These states, UP, Odisha, Madhya Pradesh, and West Bengal, the state from where the entire Naxalism started, are now partially hit. Now, we would like to tell that there are several interstate agreements signed between a lot of states, like Uttar Pradesh has signed an interstate agreement with Bihar and Jharkhand. They have Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh have also a lot of agreements over intelligence sharing about Naxal movements and everything. Uh, Now, these things are important to know because it is very important that the Naxalism, which was at its peak during this period, is now it's now reduced to a lot of now reduced to a lot of levels. Uh, Even the Home Minister today, in his statement, said that we will take this fight to its culmination. And if, the Chief Minister of Chattisgarh, Bhupesh Baghel, also said that it is breathing its last. Uh, but it's a long road ahead, and let's hope things go smoothly as being planned. This is Rahul Pandey from One Stop Current Affairs. You can uh, please go subscribe our channel for all the current affairs updates. We will keep coming back to you with the daily news analysis and also with these shows to enhance your skills, enhance your knowledge. Uh, Rahul Pandey for One Stop Current Affairs. Thank you so much.